episode of the Total R&B Podcast. My name is Loreena, and today I have another amazing guest with me. He is a singer, he is a songwriter. He's probably so much more that we're going to learn about today, so I'm really excited about that. He has had the opportunity to be in rooms with some of the greatest people that we have in the music industry, like Tricky Stewart, The Dream, L.A. Reid. He's worked with a number of artists like Travis Porter, Two Chainz, Erica Badu, the list goes on. And he's here today to talk about his upcoming album that's coming out in the key of us that I'm excited to get into. So, welcome to the podcast, JaXon Gállery. How are you?
Thank you so much for having me. This is where it goes like,
Yes, all the fireworks,
right.
everything.
No, thanks for having me. Again, it's always great to just share great energy with great people like yourself. So, yeah, I'm excited to dive into this story and this music and whatever else you have in store for me. So,
Of course, and thank you for taking time out of your day to speak with me. So I do appreciate it as well.
of
I
course.
always start the podcast off the same way each and every time, and it's what comes to mind when I say, "What is your first memory of R&B music?"
Oh man, what comes to mind was a family function and the first time I heard Al Green, "Let's Stay
Ooh.
Together."
Oh, wow.
The amount of excitement, love, joy, peace in a family, especially at that time, it was a little rowdy, but to see how the music moved people so much to enjoy one another, one, and just to have a good time. I was like, man, like I want to be a part of that moment. Not so much of the dancing part, like sure, but I want to make the music that people forget about stress, issues, and problems, and just live in the moment. And the music just takes them to a space to where it's like none of that matters for the next 3 minutes and 12 seconds, right? And
Yeah,
that was my earliest memory of music. Like that's when the bug bit me. I had to have been maybe all of I don't know 8, maybe 9. So yeah, that's my first memory of R&B music.
I love that because that's one of those songs that I think everybody has like a good memory with
That's
that
the
song.
one. That's the one, especially in Black culture. I feel like Al Green was like the uncle.
Hmm.
So it's like it just felt again. It just felt like that was the first time I had seen something that I was like, I want to do that for the rest of my life because at that point I was already singing to get girlfriends and stuff. So I was accustomed to music and singing. But when I heard that record, I was like, and then I saw that experience. I was like, this is where I want to be. So
Yeah,
that was my first moment in what R&B music is and was for me.
that's dope. And you come from a very small town in Georgia,
So
Hogansville.
small. So small. It's called Hokinsville. Man, it's maybe population is probably 2,300 people, and 98% of those people are my cousins. So I'm from like that small of a town. But it's so rich in culture and love and music, sports. Um, Man, it shaped everything about me right now. Like I think, even in my time of being in LA, like
Okay.
how I was raised, like it taught me and gave me so many morals to just carry throughout life to where no matter where I went after leaving home, like I had a solid foundation of knowing who I was, what I wanted, and how to be intentional to get it. So yeah, that's Hogansville. And I get so excited whenever I talk about it because the amount of conversations I've had with people who've never heard of Hogansville, but me saying it to them like a Will I Am or an Usher, or a Chris Brown, and who's from also like a small town as well. But
Yeah.
just knowing that those people now know about my small town because I'm living out my dreams and I'm at the right place at the right time, being who I am, and just talking passionately about my town. People are like, man, I want
Mhm.
to look this up, and it's like, bro, you should do a tour. You should, you know what I mean? Pull up and see, let the people see you because a lot of people don't come here.
Yeah.
I think it'll be really cool for people to experience like Hogansville
Yeah, but I mean, you could make that happen like with the moves that you're making and
for
people
sure.
getting to know who you are. So you never know what can happen in the future. Because even from reading your bio, I was like, I've never heard of that place. So I
Right.
Googled it
Yeah,
to
yeah,
learn more about it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a really cool place to say the least.
Yeah, that's amazing. But coming from like such a small town, because sometimes people feel like they have to get out. Did you ever
Yes.
feel that way to do what you want to do?
Hmm. Um, I always knew that I would. Even as a kid, I played travel baseball, so every Wednesday or Thursday, I was in another town or another state traveling playing baseball. So, and people would always remember me as a kid that was singing anyways, even in practice. So
Yeah.
I always knew, even at an early age, that I wanted to do music, but I didn't know at what capacity.
Okay.
But it was like, again, the moment I really dove into music and artists, like the Al Green and the Prince and the James Brown and the Stevie Wonders, Luthers, it was like, all right, I'm discovering something that I'm excited about waking up every day to sing these songs. And I knew at some point it would allow me to go and see the world
Mhm.
and come back, obviously. But yeah, I always knew I would travel the world. Oddly enough, I always knew that. Even at 8, I knew I would be doing something that I was really passionate about, and it just happened. Music was that thing for me.
Yeah. And so then, because you got signed to Red Zone,
Hmm.
right? So how do you go from a small town like Hogansville to Red Zone with Tricky
Right.
Stewart?
I'm having the craziest feeling deja vu when you just asked that. But that journey really started with this guy named Sean Hall and Chris Young.
Okay.
I was in college at the time, and there was like this big area, and this one girl found out I could sing, so she asked me to sing happy birthday for her, and I sang for her. And every day there was like more girls. Every day that I would just go to this one place and start singing, and the guy, now name is Marquise, he had saw it and was like, "Bro, I know somebody that works with Def Jam. You should go up." I was like, "All right." So we went up. That was when I met Sean and Chris, and then I sang for both of them. That next morning at 6 o'clock in the morning, I was in the studio recording, and maybe a year later, I had a better understanding of how to record, how to write, and we had a couple of label meetings. He was like, "This last meeting, like I want us to take." It was with Tricky, and I didn't know who he was at the time because
Hmm.
I mean, if you weren't Timberland or Pharrell,
Yeah.
people didn't really know. So I was like, "All right, cool." And I walked in Red Zone, and I saw all these plaques on the wall. I was like, I'm definitely at the right place." And I walked in, and we played Tricky some songs. I sang for him, and he was like, "You're a star.
Mhm.
I believe in you. I'm working on Beyonce right now. I just need a year." And I was like, "You want me to wait a year to?" But it's like, it's Beyonce.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, cool. And then in that time, after that year, man, it happened so quickly. Like I remember we did the deal with Red Zone, and Let Me Take You Out came out maybe a few months after, and then, which was a leaked record because we had sent it to Travis Porter, and somehow it was posted public and not private. And a week later, it had like 1 million views. And in that time, I got flown to New York to meet with Ellie Reed. It was me, Lonnie Broadwell. You guys know him as Frank Ocean. Big Sean, Travis Scott, and it was one other person. I think his name was Tamel. And we were all just performing our music, and I ended up going last. And L.A. Reid and Steve Bartos, I'll never forget this. They were playing pool while people were performing. I was just like, they just seem like they're not interested. Like they're
Sorry,
just
wait,
waiting for us
sorry.
to leave.
Just hold on. You guys are performing at, is it like a showcase or is it?
It's a showcase. We were in LA's room. It shit looked like a house, really. And we were like, they were playing the music, and like the A&R people were there, and it's just like nobody was interested in the music. And I'm like, what? Like well, y'all flew us here,
Hmm.
and it's like you guys are like waiting for us to leave. So I was like, all right, when they play my music, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I know I'm gonna do something. That's when the Hogansville came out. They started playing my music. I literally jumped on this man's pool table and was performing right in the middle of them playing pool. I don't know if they had money on the game or whatever. I jumped on a pool table and started performing. Maybe like 30 seconds in, he was like, "Stop the music." He was like, "Get off my table. I'm signing you." And I was like, "Huh?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna sign you." I was like, "I think that's a great idea." And that was how that was how my career started. Again, the Hogansville, to where it's like, you either gonna love me or you gonna respect me. One of the two. I'm gonna get one from you. And I think from me taking a chance, because everybody else is very kind of like reserved, passive. I was like, bro,
Yeah.
that like we're here. This is Ellie Reed. I'm tricky. Dreams across the hall. It's like, bro, I have to make a lasting impression, and I did. We ended up doing that deal, and that was my introduction to the music industry. That
That's
changed.
crazy. And I guess also that really explains because you hear those interviews with like an LA Reid when
Hmm.
they talk about, oh, I passed on signing this person or I passed on this. And it's probably because they were more passive during their audition.
Listen, it's like imagine somebody saying, or who could help. Imagine the guy who helped Usher, TLC, Outkast, sitting across from you or playing pool, and you're from Hogansville, 1,000 people, and this is your one shot, possibly in your mind, to make a lasting impression on what Hogansville is all about. I
Yeah.
don't have anything to lose, so why would I be passive? I'm like, no, like you brought me here because you know I'm a star, so why would I not shine? Like
Yeah.
what? I'm him. So I said, yo, I'm gonna treat this shit like this is my stage. I was above, not to, I didn't think of it that way at that moment, but it was like me standing on that table. Everybody had to look. It
Mm,
was like, yo, who is this? Is this okay? It's Ellie Reed, man. That never crossed my mind. I didn't care if he was mad, happy, or sad. I know he saw me.
yeah.
I know he couldn't deny my talent. And based on that, he was like, yo, I can't deny you. I see your talent. I'm gonna sign you. And that took literally a week. And I was
Wow.
in my first deal. Yeah.
No, that is so amazing. And it really just shows people like if you have the opportunity, like take advantage of that
I
opportunity.
have to.
That's so important. And so after that, like that whole experience, like what went through your mind now that you're a signed artist?
Uh, Man, initially I was excited, and when that went away, because it was like, well, I knew this would happen, so I'm not surprised.
Hmm.
But nothing changed other than my bank account, right? Because it's like you have to put out new music and material on the road and all that. And I'm like, man, nothing's changed. Like nobody knows my name. I haven't toured, and it's like, well, you have to give it all time. But the first thing that went through my mind though was like, man, like all of the people that taught me everything and what I stand on now would be so proud. Like if they could have been in that room and saw me like capture the room, it's something that I do or I've been doing even as a kid. They're like, oh, that's just him being himself. Um, I was so proud. Like I remember the flight back home, and I was sitting between some people, and it was meant to be. I didn't know who these people were that I was sitting between, and I was just like holding back like tears. I was like, man, like it happened, and I'll never forget this. This was a chubby white guy. He was like by the window because I like window seats. And he was like, man, it looks like a lot on your mind. I was like, man, I flew here from a really small town, and I just signed a deal with Def Jam, and I'm so excited. I don't even know what to do myself. And he was like, sounds like you're doing what you're supposed to be doing in life. And I was like, yeah, it feels that way. And
Hmm.
I'll never forget that conversation, but just in that moment, I can't even, it was just so much joy, excitement, and nerves. Because I knew at that point now I have to deliver. And I didn't know what it was I was to deliver, but I knew that there was a certain amount of pressure on me to be who I was in that room, and everywhere I went, even when I was sleeping. I had to be that person, and which wasn't hard because I was genuinely just being myself.
Yeah.
I've always stood on that. I've always been myself, so it wasn't hard to do. But that was a really cool moment. Like I can remember it. So
No, that's dope. And then another really cool thing too is that you were also put in the room with The Dream, who is I think one of like the greatest songwriters. The way his mind just comes up with certain things to me is wild. But you got a chance to learn from him. So how was that experience? Like what did you pick up from the way that he works?
watching the dream work was, man, it was like watching somebody make your favorite dessert. Um, because you just wanted to know the recipe. And
Hmm.
even though you saw it, you was like, I don't know how to make that shit. But he was such and is such a genius when it comes to being intentional with writing songs and understanding who people are and who their fan base is. I think at that time I wasn't really into writing songs, but I would always ask him questions, and he always brought up like literature. Like, what made you? He's like, man, double entendres and metaphoric meanings and finding simple things that people do all day, every day, and turning into something that's a melodic melody that people remember. Um, Being mindful of something that people can take from your song and kind of live by. And his energy, though, being around him at times was like, not that he was like an asshole, but it was just like, he was just like a very intentional, intense person. And I think that was just kind of how he was raised. But it was always in good favor. It was always in love. Just for me, I just didn't grow up on that type of delivery.
Hmm.
So it like he'll say some amazing shit to me, but then he'll end it with some shit that I haven't heard, and I'll look like, who are you talking to? But again, it was always in love and favor, right? But
Yeah.
it was so much that I was able to learn. I think part of the reason that I really enjoy songwriting as much as I do now is for sure because of him. Because it never looked like forced. It was
Hmm.
always like I'm only creating what the universe is giving me to create. Like I've seen him write 7 just verse, pre, and a hook, and didn't write a second verse. He's like, well, I'll write it when it comes to me. And I never understood because it's like, well, if you could write the pre, and the hook, why don't you just write the second verse? It's just one more part, and then it's like, no, like it's not in me right now. I don't want to focus on that thing. I want to go to a different idea because I feel the inspiration for that song is like chilling right now. I want to do something different. And then I learned in that moment, like, you don't always have to sit down and write a full song. You can write a verse. Frank Ocean worked on Novocaine. Man, I swear I heard this song for a year. It changes every time I would hear the song before people heard it, because that was again one of the people who I was actually signed with in my class of being signed to Def Jam, and that was also something I learned from him as well. Like every word should mean something. Frank Ocean, I mean, and I felt like with Dream it was the same thing, but it was like every word, every melody, and every story should be something that the culture can live by.
Mm.
And I think again, just being around, or starting where I started was like the top of the top. It's like you can only learn. What I mean, JQ, one of the songwriters who helped put Yeah for Usher together. Like that was a mentor for 4 or 5 years. And he introduced me to B Cox, and being around him and his production for a year and some change. And it's like Jazzy Faye, Big Reese, Big Jasper, and there were so many legendary people that I was around, like in the beginning of my career, that I just genuinely felt like this is the company that I'm supposed to be around. But there's also an intention that comes with that company. Like, all right, now you have to develop something to where
Hmm.
you're now an asset and not a liability to people. I think thinking on it now, it's like, sure, at that time, talent was like, it got you there. But it's like, I wish I would have been a songwriter in that time of like really doing it. I just think it would have been a lot easier transition from when labels shut down and songwriters being busy work with other artists. It's like I wasn't self sufficient as I
Oh,
felt like I could have been in that moment. But it wasn't a thing to do as an artist, because that's when, having somebody like The Dream and JQ around, it's like,
yeah.
I'm gonna just wait because I can't do what you do or you. So I'm gonna. Plus, that's what labels want, because there's a certain connection through labels and songwriters where they just trust to get a hit record. And
Yeah.
that's all labels need is one song. Like that one song can take you across the world for the rest of your life. It doesn't take 20. It just takes one song.
That is very true. That is very true. So there's so much that you said with all those amazing people that you name dropped that you got to work with and see how they work and learn from them with your songwriting, working with these greats to now putting out your own music on your own. How has your songwriting evolved?
And the songwriting for me has evolved so much. Just from a personal standpoint, I think Kanye said this line was like, "You had the keys but couldn't open up your own vault." I think as a songwriter, it's like life and songs are happening in any and every moment, but if you don't know how to take that moment and translate it into a relatable thing, it'll
Mhm.
drive you crazy. And that was what my process was in the earlier stage. It's like I have this idea, but I don't know how to make it something that people can relate to. I just started listening to my favorite song and songwriters and figuring out the how and the why.
Mhm.
And I just started practicing and using it for myself. And I think being intentional with my words and the exact story that I'm trying to convey, that's simple enough to explain, melodically enjoyable enough to tell a friend about it, and intentional enough to put it on a playlist. I think that's been my thing when it comes to songwriting. There's going to be somebody 20 years, 40 years, 60 years from now, if we're still here, that'll
Mhm.
discover my music and they'll want to sample my music. That's the goal. So the songwriting, again, it's just evolved and it's getting better every song, because I don't force it like I used to. Like I used to really force songs with beats that I wasn't connected to.
Okay.
I think now that I only write to beats or music or frequencies that I genuinely am connected to, the songwriting is easy. Like, I don't feel like I'm writing it. I feel like the universe is literally channeling this energy through me to write this story that I'm supposed to tell. Because if I don't tell it, then it's going to use somebody else, and that person will tell it. And if
Mhm.
that person does it, it's going to keep going through sources until somebody tells a story. So my stories are mine, but the lyrics of it, I feel like the universe is giving me because I don't write down lyrics. I literally, like, if I hear beat, I genuinely feel something, I don't want to listen again. I just put my setup on and record, because the first I've learned, my first recording is always the most authentic recording. So I'm not
Oh.
thinking about any lyrics. I'm not thinking about the story so much, but I'm telling an emotion. And sometimes the words are there. Well, most times the words are there, but um, the feeling is there. And I think for me, I figured out the words come second, the feeling comes first, and that's my style of writing. And whenever the feeling is there, I know the song is gonna be there. But if the feeling isn't there, I don't. I'll stop 10 seconds into some words and find another beat or frequency that I feel fits, and then I move from there.
No, that's good. Because I find sometimes when you get stuck on a song or you can't move further, sometimes that kind of slows down the process because I think you're looking to make everything perfect.
Right, that's me.
That,
That's me for sure. I think Dream would be proud of me if he saw me like how I record now. Like I'll do a half a verse, and the moment I find myself thinking, I'll just go to the next thing, because music is conversation. I'm not thinking right now. We're having a moment to where the flow is just flowing, and uh, we're not thinking. We're literally just having a moment, and that's all music is.
yeah.
Music is a moment that people aren't in the physical moment to experience, but the moment they hit play, there is a spiritual moment that they can experience. It was like, man, I feel like I'm there. I felt what he or she is saying. I believe it, and I think that's kind of the difference now with music. Like it just feels like music just feels like sounds. It just feels like not lifeless, but it just it doesn't feel as pure as when I grew up listening to music. Like I
Yeah.
felt something. I believed something. It made me think of a girlfriend. And I was like, man, I might let me just text her, see what she's doing. And it's like, but now it's like music just feels like everybody's just looking for this one TikTok moment, and it's like, man, TikTok is gonna always be here, sure, but it's like, are you telling your story? So
Yeah.
much so that at the end of it, you're proud of yourself. Like I think a lot of people have a hard time looking in the mirror, and it's like music should be so pure. I love looking at me in the mirror because I know who I am. The music that I'm making is not forced. I'm not thinking, oh, well, I'm black and I can dance, so I need to be the next Chris or the next Usher. It's like, no, I'm trying to be the first JaXon Gállery. And I think that was something that I had to unlearn at labels. Like, it was always, yo, you could be the next. You should be the next. And it's like, why are we trying to be the first? Whomever that artist is, but me in particular. But it's like, that's just their way of working less and being less creative. That's the part that's missing. The creativity,
Yeah.
the music of how people are pitching it and signing artists and allowing artists to develop. That's what's missing. I'm glad I thought about that.
But I wanted to ask you too because I saw this conversation on Threads and they were talking about the singer Monica because she put out a song. I can't
Mm.
remember the name of the song. I think it was like Letters or something like that. And I thought it was a dope song and she had a video for it. It was great, but then the song didn't take off. So somebody was asking like, why do you think that is? And some people in the thread were answering saying the song had too many words. And I was like, what?
People are crazy. Fans. I think the internet is a place where people just talk just to talk. I haven't heard the song personally, but if the song has too many words, I don't know. That's a first. But sometimes the songs that we love the most aren't the songs that go, and
Mhm.
sometimes songs that we don't like are the songs that go. I didn't like "Let Me Take You Out."
Oh, wow.
I did not like that song. I was like, especially at that time, I'm like, oh, like it's all about them cheeks. I talk about that in all my songs now. But I was like, bro, I don't. This doesn't feel like something that I would sing or
Hmm.
something I would say. And that song really started my career. But to go back to your point, man, I just saw an interview with Tricky. And he was talking about Baby. He was saying Baby was not a hit record. He was saying that it was flopping because it wasn't on radio because radio wasn't playing the record. And it became what it became over time. But he said initially it wasn't that. So sometimes records just take time. Sometimes your core fans don't want to hear that song from you. They want to hear something with less words, right? And we don't know that until we put a song out and we get a feedback from it from our fans or our supporters. So, but it having too many words, that's a first. I don't think I've ever heard a song and I was like, this song has too many words. I've heard a song and I was like, he doing way too many runs. But yeah, I don't think I've ever heard a song with too many words. But I mean, if it's too many, hopefully the story behind it is good and they should read it.
I mean, I thought the song was fine. I didn't have a problem with that, but for me, it was just like another thing that I see changing in music, and I feel like that's why some of the songs we don't feel anything to because the
Hmm.
story is not there. Like we're cutting things short because we're taking away bridges
Right.
and all those different things. And so
It's just
I feel like sometimes we need those extra words in there.
listen. We I was just talking to well not long ago, friend Rico, who I did a few songs on this project with. Who was talking about bringing bridges back. I was like, bro, it's so crazy. Like we live in a space now to where it's like people are listening to music for 20 and 30 seconds, being like, oh, that's a hit record, or oh, that's not a hit record at all. And it's like, huh? The complexities in songs like I Love Your Girl, like I have to take the music to that because at that time it just felt different. But just listen to it, like oh yeah, it's a pretty cool song. But I think the more we listened and the more we were able to vibe to it, and the more we would hear it in a certain setting, because I do think music is a spiritual mood. It's like
Yeah.
you could hear the right song in the wrong setting, and you'd be like, something's off, and it's just the setting that's off. It's not the music; it's the setting. I remember the first time I heard "I Love Your Girl" in the club, in comparison to like the studio. It was a totally different experience experience. I was well in the studio. It was dope as well, right? But
Yeah.
when I heard it in the club,
Yeah.
it was the perfect setting, and I was like, he did something. He did that. So again, I think even how people are consuming music now, it's like if I can't do a TikTok dance to it, then it's not cool enough. It's like no, like I'm not making music to be cool for TikTok. I'm making music to inspire people. I'm making music to give people a sense of hope or this idea of love or it's okay to fuck up and figure it out and then get back to whatever it is you're doing. I don't even consider social media when I'm creating music, but I know so many artists and songwriters that are like, man, this feels like this would be like a really good song for TikTok, and I'm just like,
Wow.
what are we talking about? Like, we're now creating music not for a people, but for a platform,
Yeah.
for a 30-second. Like, that's all. That will always be my beef with people and the idea of trying to conform to this new wave of how people consume music.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, those 30 seconds, sure, they'll get you on stage, but are you ready for the stage?
Yeah, but can you sell the tickets to be on stage?
And come on.
That's another issue too.
And that's the thing. There is no artist development. Like when I was at Def Jam, I really felt like I was an athlete. I had a trainer. I had a choreographer. Even when we were working on the dance moves and stuff like that, he would be like, "Sing the song," because I need to know where you're losing breath, so I can change the hit for that, so you can sing that. And I'm just like thinking about it now. It's like, oh, this is artist development.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have to do it with like the interview stuff because I don't know. I feel like I've just been a natural talker with people, but those type of things helped me for stage. Like I've
Yeah.
been on the road with Nas, Erica Badu, Justin Bieber. I've done stuff for Verizon. Like I'm just like all of that stuff prepared me for those moments because I could have been in those moments and have not been prepared, and it would have never happened.
Yep.
Like the Justin Bieber thing literally happened. Somebody was got sick that day, and they just called like, "Hey, can you come perform?" Mind you, not knowing I had been rehearsing for 4 months, so I was like, for sure. We did a sound check. They was like, okay, yeah, open. I was like, perfect. Opened, came off stage. Hey, so do you want to do the next 5 shows? I was like, duh, of course. Sign me up. Where do I? But again, it's because the artist development of performing was something that I wanted to do, one, but it was also something that the label was like, yo, like, no, you should be able to perform at the
Mhm.
drop of a dime.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, no. It's a lot, but it's really good that you went through that route at the label at the time when they were actually giving artists development because I think that's something
Yeah.
that not being offered too much these days. So that's really cool that you were able to experience that as well.
Yeah.
But I do want to talk about this album that we have coming out soon, In the Key of Us, which I'm excited to hear in its entirety.
Mhm.
So, for the title, because when I first saw the title, I immediately thought about Stevie Wonder and his classic album. So, I wanted to know if that's linked.
Yes. I didn't even have I didn't have a album. I was just going to title it JaXon Gállery initially, and I heard the song As, and I was like, oh my, like, and it just took me back to so many memories. And then I saw the album title, and I was like, I have to pay homage because everything leading up to that moment, I was really like, man, like, what am I going to title this project? Like, how can I title this project? How can I pay a homage to all of the cookouts that I attended, where all of this great music was being played, and I had an audition for Lion King at the time. They wanted me to sing a Stevie Wonder song, so I was like, okay, ass. And I had another audition. It was a music as well, and they were like a Stevie Wonder song. I was like, what? Why I keep seeing and hearing Stevie Wonder? And
Wow.
then I saw it, And I'm more aware now when I'm getting subtle hints from the universe of like, yo, what better way? Because I was looking at Al Green, I was looking at a bunch of stuff of his. I was like, yeah, it's Al Green. But it just wasn't sitting right. And I was like, it'll come to me. And when I started seeing Stevie Wonder everywhere, I was like, in the key of us. And I said it out loud and I wrote it on because I'm big on writing stuff and seeing it. And when I saw it, I was like, this feels like if I could if I could show somebody something, like, if I could say something to someone that would give them just a small glimpse of my upbringing with a subtle hint, it would be this. It would be this. And I remember I told one of my friends, musical person, he was like, "Oh, it's Stevie Wonder vibe." I was like, "Yeah," and I played him some music. He was like, "But it's funky a little bit, but it's R&B still." But I was like, "But the homage," he was like, "Bro, it's there." Like, yeah, and it just felt perfect. Like, even just thinking about it right now in the key of us, it just gives me that moment of gratitude and homage of man where I started, and that's one person. Oddly enough, I was supposed to have met him in when I was in California, and something happened, and he didn't show up, so I wasn't able to see him, and it's just like a full circle moment. So when I do meet him, I was like, "Yo, just want you to know, my first project that I fully wrote by myself, I paid homage to you, man. I just want you to know that." So,
And that's definitely going to happen because he's been popping up at different places all the
man, listen,
time now.
I'm saying so it's meant to be, but
Yeah.
yeah, that was definitely homage to Stevie Wonder without a question, for sure.
That's amazing. And so if we follow you online, you've put some clips,
Mm-hmm.
some of the songs that are going to be on the album.
Uh-huh.
So there was one that I did like, I think it's called Shadows.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. So tell us about that song. Well, actually, tell us what we can expect from the album, but let's go into the song Shadows too.
Okay. Man, from this project, man, you can expect some funky, beautiful R&B stories of knitting together this. I should have did what I knew was best for us, and I didn't. And if I had 5 minutes to fix it with you, I'd fix it so we would never ever part again. And there's so many different again homages just on black culture. Shadows. That was like the first song that I wrote with Katie produced it, and this one girl that I used to date, and I feel like all of our best moments was only at night, and not even just on a sex thing, right? But just
Mhm.
more of like the intimate moments, like of us laying together, talking, massages, dreaming together, cooking together, watching movies together, sitting on the balcony, like looking at the. It was just this moment that I felt was always happening, only at night. Because
Mhm.
during the day I was moving and grooving, she was moving and grooving, and when we broke up, throughout the day I was always good. It didn't cross my mind like you break up, oh well. But
At night.
only at night, it was like I could smell her in my space. I could hear her when I was in the shower. I could feel her in the bed, but on her side. Will I ever, you know what I mean, get this person back? And that's what Shadows was. And then Care For was that moment of realization to where I saw her again. And it was like all of these emotions and memories happened. And everything that I wish I would have said in the relationship, it's like we took a moment and I said all those things. And she took a moment and she said all those things. And it was like, why didn't we do this when we were together? And then the song Common Sense came together. And it's like, uh, sometimes when you're in the thick of something with someone, common sense isn't so common.
Mm.
It feels complicated. It feels like, how do we get here?
Yeah.
You know, and how do we get out of this space? And it's how we started, genuinely caring for one another, um, being respectful, being um, a good listener. Like I think the comfortability sometimes can be the downfall in relationships where it's like, all right, I'm comfortable. I don't need to bring flowers or I don't need to dress a certain way anymore. I don't need to, I can wear my hair any type of way. It's like, no, like, you're still my person in my imagination that I remembered. Let me live there. And I'm still that person in your imagination that you remembered. I want to live there for you. So there's this like intertwined connection. And then Fortunate came. And, Fortunate is having that moment where it's like, man, I could have any person in the world, but you are the person that I'm loving, that I'm learning, that I'm experiencing this life with and music. And Got happened, which is a song that's just a culture thing. I guess, like, nice round butt. He had one of those for sure. Um, but that's a cultural song because the second verse, I literally just spoke about all of my favorite films like Love Jones,
Hmm.
Lady Boy, In Too Deep, Wood, um, Brown Sugar. Like it was the song. Yes, it's about a certain context, right? But that's the first song I've ever written where it was like a really personable, like, I don't know if people share my same taste in movies, but let me just drop them all in there for y'all. And I was playing it for friends, and everybody would always know. It's like, bro, I didn't know you love like Love Jones. Like that's one of my favorite films. It's like, yeah, but like one of mine as well. But again, I'm creating conversation
Yeah.
culturally. Um, and then Miracle Water happened. I think I think that's my favorite record. I don't think I love all my songs. Platters well, but I think Miracle Water was the first song that I recorded like all the way through without writing and stopping. Like I was on like a spiritual journey. Like this is when I discovered sound bowls, and I remember when Katie sent me that beat, and I was by myself. Um, I had just saw my ex at the time, and we spoke for a little bit, and I was like, I had this bottle of energy. I don't even know what it was. I still don't know what it was, but I knew I needed to write a song. And Katie sent me that song that night, Mother Beat, and I heard it. I was maybe 20 seconds in. I was like, this is the song. This is the song that I'll remember for the rest of my life that I hope people will listen to and be like, yo, there's ever a song that I feel whatever I did wrong in my relationship or my marriage, there's a little piece of hope. I want to play her the song. That was that song for me. Like, if I had 5 minutes left on this earth and we were all about to, however God's going to end the earth, if I had 5 minutes to just like say everything to her, it was that song. Like I said everything I imagined I would want to say to her in that moment in that song.
Okay.
That was the one, and that was the song that pretty much finished the project.
Oh, wow. How
I
long
mean,
did it take you to complete the whole project?
when I actually sat down and really started thinking to myself, I need to put out a project that I'm currently feeling. Man, maybe 2 weeks, if that, because at that time I was on a roll. Like Shadows was kind of early on,
Hmm.
but Fortunate, Platter, Got Miracle Water, like those four songs like happened like one day, the next day, the next day, the next day, and then I was like, this is starting to feel like a project now. Care for. KD produced it and he sent it to me. I was like, this is the link that connects it all. Common Sense was close, but Care for was like, yeah, this makes everything make sense. In the key of us, I care for you so much so that I'm trying to create a whole new note for us to exist in love, and that's exactly what In the Key of Us is. I want to create a note, a key that only you and I can exist in, and this music is that letter to myself and to that person and to whomever this music reaches.
Hmm.
That's what I want people to get from this music.
Well, that's exciting. I can't wait to hear everything in its entirety. From the clips, like I liked it. I picked on from the song with all the movie titles.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Even
yeah.
when you started, I was like waiting. I'm like, I want to hear the
Right. Yeah.
movies that I like. You're always searching. So I
Yeah.
thought it was so cool that you incorporated that into
Thank
the
you.
song. So I'm really excited to hear everything. And what's like the feedback that you've been getting, like working with King Drums, Rico Flash, J Minor, like when they heard what you've come up with?
They're always like, this is all three of them their favorite Sam. Bro, what you waiting on? And I'm like nothing because earlier on I was waiting on something, and I was waiting on In the Key of Us. I
Hmm.
think had I rushed it, I would have put out the project, and I would have been happy, but it would have been back to that thing of like hearing the right song in the wrong setting.
Okay.
Like I'd have to look at it every day, like I don't feel like that's the like JaXon Gallery. Like no, like it should be a moment that I can look back on and be like, man, I remember everything about In the Key of Us. That was when I went through a breakup. I was talking to a girl and this girl, and then I was trying to figure out the music, and I met Rico, and I met Katie, and then I met J Minor, then I met Low Key, and was recording at the studio. Like In the Key of Us is a moment for me that I remember. If it's just JaXon Gállery, it's like, uh, I don't think that moment has happened yet.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I think that's a grander moment. But I think right now, In the Key of Us is that moment. It feels like it. Like recording it, I was like, I wonder if this is what Michael Jackson felt like when he was doing Thriller.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Just off the, it feels like that moment of clarity where it's like everything leading up to this moment from here back makes sense. So now in this present moment, everything forward is going to make sense based off of this present moment. And it also just gives me this style of music just gives me kind of a palette to not be put in this space of like, oh, well, you black and you're light skinned, and so your music should be in the club and you should be dancing. It's like, no, that was something that I also wanted to stay away from. Like this whole project is lavender and leather.
Mm.
Like it's that. It's Prince really. This is really my if I Prince, Al Green, and Stevie Wonder, like if I could just put those three people together,
Yeah.
this
And because the songs are so vulnerable, like, were you ever, I know you move off of like energy and stuff, but were you ever nervous about putting any of these songs out for like the people to hear?
for sure. For sure. Shadows, for sure. Because I knew Shadows and specifically Miracle Water.
Okay.
Every time people hear one of those two songs, they're always like, tell me the story. Like I want to know what was happening. And I used to tell people, and I was like, no, like that's not my job. My job is done. I created a space for you to have a conversation with what you think it is. So I started asking people like, what do you think it's about? And they're always a little off, but they're close enough to I'm like, yeah, it's that, along with other things, but it's that.
At least their interpretation is not like way off.
Right. No, and that's when I'm like, all right, clearly I'm way off. I need to dial it back in. But the fact that people can hear the music and not think such like vague thoughts and have like deep conversation, I think you're talking about. Cause that one of my friends was like, bro, I feel like this song is like a mixture of like your first child and like somebody you lost. And I'm like, you know what? It feels like that.
Hmm.
There are certain parts of it to where it feels like I lost something or someone that I can never get back based off of their time being up on this earth. I can see that for sure. So I just want to create conversations with the music. That's all.
Yeah, I think that's definitely, I think with the like the topics that you touch on
Yeah.
with the different songs, I think that would spark conversations. Something that's so popular now, especially with
Yeah.
podcasts, are
No, for
talking about
sure.
relationships and stuff like that. But yeah, I think it's something we do need to have music that sparks the debate or makes us dig deep into something.
No, for sure.
So
For sure.
I think that's so good. Another thing I love is watching people perform live. So are you going to be doing live shows? Are you going to have your sound bowls with you? What's going to happen?
I'm gonna take my sound bowls with me everywhere I go. All of my crystals, and I'm for sure going to be on somebody's stage very, very soon. Cause I've been getting that itch to get back with the 100 Grand Band. That's my band's name. And I love performing. It's like I love my recordings,
Hmm.
but I think my live music is different because I get to do the runs that I was doing initially in the studio. Then I was like, nah, this can wait. I think there is a certain pocket for live music, and you just get to create a different experience, like going to a show and hearing exactly what you heard. At least for me, from my phone, is like, well, I could have just listened to this shit on my phone. I came to the show because I want to hear some changes. I want to see a breakdown. I want a moment to happen, and that for me is what I'm so excited. I can't wait to get on the road. So got a booking agent. So we get this music going. I assure you. I mean, if I end up somewhere in the area, we have to do something live to where we can do another.
No, that would
Or,
be so dope or if I could get to the
or
US.
when you move to California,
See, there we go.
we already here. I'm saying when you get out to California, it's gonna happen.
No, I love that because I interviewed another singer, Dre Scott, and he
Mm-hmm.
said the exact same thing. He
Listen.
said he does not want to perform his songs like the record because he's like, you guys work hard for your money. You guys should be coming to a show and
Mm-hmm.
should be seeing like a real show. So I really appreciate that. I think a lot of us now, unfortunately, we go to these shows and a lot of it is just the record that's playing. So that's why sometimes I feel bad for like my goddaughter who's like in her teens now. She wants to go see certain artists, and I'm just like, girl,
Mm-hmm. You about to go and listen to the song and them folk lip sing and kind of sing along. It's like I
yeah.
get it. Certain people, you got a high intensity show. It's like yeah, I get it, but it's like give people something that they can hold on to. Like I remember going to well, no, I've been to other shows, but I went to a Prince show, and
Oh,
this was like on some random. Nobody knew this man was performing. It was in California, and I had just put out this song, covered the Shift record, and I heard like this guitar lick. I was like, sounds like a Prince type of song they about to play. So they start playing some Prince music, and he walks out on stage, and I could touch him. That's how close he was.
wow.
And he started doing the Shush record, and as he's singing, he's getting closer to me, and my heart is, I'm nervous because I'm thinking he about to be like, "Hey, I heard your little cover, sing it, let me hear something." And he like he walks, and I see his shoulder, and he like gives me like the side look. I'm like, bro, if he gets in the microphone, I'm gonna turn up now, but I'm gonna also be. I'm like, this is Prince. Like I never in a million years would think I'd be at a Prince concert, and it's only maybe 120 people. So everybody in the room was shocked. And I'm just like, man, seeing the show, I'm like, how could I not want to emulate or give that type of intensity to fans? We didn't even pay to get in there. It was just a venue where people would just casually like you pay for your drinks, but it's like you just go in and just chill. And I was in there performing. He did a 15-minute set, and when he walked off, nobody clapped or anything. It was like everybody was looking like, nigga, Prince just performed,
Yep.
and he just disappeared into fairy dust and just went somewhere else, but seeing that performance though in that 15 minute was like it felt like an hour, but it was
Yeah.
only 15 minutes. And I was like, that's what I want. Like, I'd rather do a 15-minute set that feels incredible than to do an hour set and it's like yawn after 30 minutes. Like, all right, bro, I'm listening to the exact same thing that I listen to when I'm in my car.
Hmm.
So, and that's something that I've always taken with me after the Prince concert. So, for sure, I'll definitely be on somebody's stage very soon.
Okay, good. So I'm excited. So whoever's listening or watching, we got to look out for some tour dates
Yes,
that's going to be happening. So I'm
absolutely.
always here for live performances. So that's so dope. And I'm happy that you got to see Prince because when he
Mhm.
was doing those pop-ups, he actually came to Montreal.
Amazing.
And my dumb self was like,
Didn't do that.
I didn't go. I was like, oh my God, I have to work at 7 o'clock in the morning. Like, dumb. Yeah, I know.
If you've never not been out all night before and made it to work,
Yeah.
it's okay. When you move to California and I do my set, just tell me your favorite Prince song and then I'll perform it.
Okay.
And I'll put the wig and everything on, the little boots and all that.
Listen, you got to do it because I'll show up there with my phone and I'll play
Come
this.
on,
I'll just
come
have it
on,
on the
I
screen.
got you, I got you.
Amazing. Okay, so I'm so excited. So what can we expect next in this era? Like how is everything going to come out? Is there going to be like a music video that we could look out for?
So I'm gonna do a lot of short form content. Cause I'm planning on doing like a short film. Homage to Prince. I did not know this man had so many films, but I definitely want to shoot like a short film. I wrote one. I mean, one of my cousins, he's a videographer, so we're talking about that. But I definitely want to do a lot more visuals and just doing a lot of live versions of the songs, just so people can get a bit of a difference in ear candy, if you will.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Amazing. And where does that come from? Because you're always talking about like before you mention paying attention to signs
Hmm.
and your energy and different things like that. Like how did you come in to tap into that area? Because I feel like that's so important for everybody, but
Yeah,
not a
yeah,
lot of people do it or pay attention.
yeah, yeah. Books. I think my first Seven Spiritual Laws of Success, the Game of Life and How to Play It. I think especially the Game of Life and How to Play It,
Okay.
life changing book for me personally. It just one teaches you about the the idea of karmic law. There's this one passage in the book where it talks about the good that you put out, you have to also be willing to receive that. And that's something that I used to have an issue with, like receiving things. And it was talking about how that, and it's all based on just your purpose of belief. If I feel like if you believe a certain thing, then your universe will bend to it. And it talked about if somebody offers you something and you don't take it out of pride or ego, or whatever, like you're causing this bad karmic debt to pile up. And I'm just like, well, why wouldn't I want something that like I've put out a lot of good into the world? Why wouldn't I expect it back? But
Hmm.
it's the ego of like, well, no, I don't need it. I got $1 million. Why do I need another $1 million? It's like, no, now you have two. And I'm learning that, but books and just being intentional with just certain things that I watch. Because it's always hidden messages of a certain paradigm of how to live life, how to enjoy it, and how to create the life you want.
Hmm.
And I think that intentional practice kind of shaped me to be more intentional with what I want and to be clear with what I want. This guy did this practice like, yo, tell me what you want. I was like, I want an apple. And he was like, so, do you want a red apple? I'm like, no. Well, that's your issue. Tell me you want an apple. But there's so many different variations of apples.
Yeah.
So why don't you be specific? So whatever it is that you're wanting, you should be specific with it in detail. So you are now intentionally looking for that thing because you know what you want. And yeah, now I know what I want. So I'm looking for it. I knew I wanted in the key of us. I just didn't know what it was.
Hmm.
But it took two different messages for me to be like, oh, it's that. But I was intentionally being aware of what that energy was. Because when I saw it and I heard it, I was like, I felt it. I understood it. And then I said it to people and I was like, man, that sounds dope. What is it about? I was like, I don't know at the moment. It just sounds good. there's a feeling that I'm getting from it, and yeah, so that's how I really got into just the understanding of being intentional, being clear, and being honest.
Yeah, no, that's good. So thank you for those book suggestions. So we're still at the top of the year, so
Right.
definitely we could check out those books to get our year right. So I like that. And another question I want to ask because before when you were signed to Def Jam or an Epic, you were going by Brian J.
hmm
And now you are JaXon Gallery. So what does that rebrand like what made you have that decision to make the rebrand to change your name?
The end of a chapter. I think Brian J wasn't it wasn't an intentional thing. I think Brian J was just people's way of saying, well, oh, well, your name is Brian and your last name is Jackson. Let's just go with Brian J. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, but as an artist, it's an identity, and you choose that. And I think for the longest, I was in a space to where a lot of decisions were being made without me. And that one thing was something I was like, yo, I need to do that part of my due diligence as an artist.
Hmm.
So JaXon Galley was the one. So I know if somebody says JaXon Galley, I know they're a fan of my art.
Okay.
You know, whether it's Brian J, it's like, oh, I'm thinking family. What cousin's clearly around somewhere. And I just needed something to separate the personal from the art
Okay.
in JaXon Gallery.
And
Was it?
then my last question before I let you go, because you also said too, like the label would suggest different things, like whether it's your name or the
Mm-hmm.
song that you did that wasn't really you,
Mm-hmm.
but it was something that was, I guess, trendy at that time. So like
Mm-hmm.
now that you're on your own, you're creating your own music on your own, your songwriting, everything. Like what have you learned about yourself now?
I was always who I was looking for to help me.
Mm.
Being at the labels and being around super successful people that had nothing to do with my life, everything to do with theirs. And I think they were making decisions based on how it can benefit them in the long run of it. But once you once I understood that I was everything that I was looking for, I was the songwriter I needed, I was the producer that I needed, I was the artist that I needed, I was the A&R I needed, I was the videographer I needed, I was the storyteller that I needed. I got confident in it, understanding that I was capable of everything that I was giving to everyone else to do. And I understood that I was capable of it. And that's what I learned. Like, I don't need Dream to write me a song. It would be amazing if we could collab, right? But
Yeah.
Dream couldn't tell my story the way I want to tell my story. I don't need Tricky to make well, yeah, I do because I don't make beats at the moment, but I need
But I
a
know
Tricky
what you're,
to make a beat.
what
You
you
know what I
mean.
mean?
Yeah.
I need, you know what I mean? But it's just again just being self sufficient and the things that you love. I really don't love making beats, but I
Mm.
love writing songs and melodies. So it's like maybe something will change the latter part of it all. But right now, I'm everything that I need.
I love
That
that.
was what I learned.
I love that. I love your story and
Thank you.
everything that you've gone through to come to this point. I think it's pretty amazing. And it really shows how, even if something doesn't work out how you have it planned in your head, like you didn't
Right.
know at what capacity of an artist you were going to be, I think everything works out in the way that it's supposed to. So
Absolutely.
thank you so much for
Yeah.
sharing your story with me and coming on the
Thank
podcast. I appreciate it.
you so much.
And let everybody know where we can follow you online on social media. And I know you have a Patreon too that we could
Yep.
tap into.
Yep. So everything is JaXon JaXon underscore gallery GALL and then the number 3RY. That's everywhere. Everything.
Perfect. Well, I can't wait. So, everybody follow online, subscribe to the Patreon page that he has. And In the Key of Us is coming out really soon. So, we have to like follow so that when it does come out, we can go ahead and make the purchase and all that good stuff
Yeah.
and support you as an artist.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Congratulations on everything. So, and I'm
Thank
always
you.
here to support.
So
And everybody that's listening and watching, this is the Total R&B podcast. My name is Loreena. You can follow us on social media at total.rnb or our YouTube page at Total R&B Podcast. And I will be back with a brand new interview.